I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm in the gym and I love my gym because it is literally covered in high achievers. People who are world champions, Olympic athletes, the best in the world multiple times over. So it becomes very inspirational and exciting to come into this room. But then there's a big question. Why do some people become world champions, multiple world champions? They are winners and achievers, and other people settle for average. And I think that it's perfectly okay. If you look at the spectrum of never achieve anything, achieve some things at a small level, become a world champion, become a multi-millionaire, billionaire, add massive value to the world, I get that we get to choose where we want to live on that scale. And I always ask that question. There's have a great life for you, have a great life that adds value to your community or to your country, and then add massive value to the world. So a world champion athlete or business person literally changes not just their world, but our entire world. And there's a lot of business people that can share that. The people that started Google or Amazon or the internet, people who every single day they're focusing on changing the world, making the world a better place, not just their personal, I want to have a great house or a great car and I just want to get by. And that's my interesting question about headspace. Why is it that some people do just enough to get by? And why do we settle for that? It's one of the words I hate the most out of all the words in the English language. I hate the word average, because average by definition means somewhere between the worst and the best, which means you sit somewhere between my life is really, really terrible and bad and it's absolutely awesome. Now, the interesting thing with terrible and bad is that's usually when people make a change. And that's one of the interesting things about world champions and multimillionaires and people that are high achievers. Most of them, the self-made ones, have come from the hardest, toughest, most horrible upbringing. They had terrible things happen to them when they were young, and they decided that they didn't want to live like that. They wanted to make a change and become the best. They wanted to be a world champion, a multiple world champion. They wanted to be a multi-millionaire. They wanted to get away from their horrible past. So is it possible that one of the biggest enemies of being successful, of being a champion, of achieving all the things that you want to do is being comfortable, which means you're living in the average, just enough to get by? And that's one of the dangerous things as an exercise professional and as somebody that has a fitness business college. I deal with this every day because there are a lot of people who have a career, for example, as a personal trainer or a gym instructor, or they own a gym, or they've got an online fitness business, and they're doing just enough to get by, which is awesome because they're doing something that they love. But I always ask, what's the difference between just paying the bills to living financially free, financially secure, being wealthy? And there's a lot of answers that come to mind, and you've probably got a stack of your own answers. But could it have something to do with, number one, your own headspace? And I'll use an example where people have shared with me, I've never earned more than $50,000 a year, or I've never earned more than $25 an hour. So I don't know how to be successful. I'm scared of being successful because I never have been. Often with that comes, if I become wealthy, if I become financially secure, there'll be a lot of people in my life who won't like me. Might even be my own family or my partner or my friends. They won't want anything to do with me because I'm successful and they're not. I'm just sharing with you some very interesting headspaces. Of course, there's a lack of discipline, there's being lazy, there's being unfocused. So you might want something and you set your mind to, yes, I'm going to do it, but then a challenge comes up or a problem, or you get tired, or you run out of money, or you don't feel like it that particular day. And of course, that's living in the average, because none of those people are successful. They do just enough to get by. The challenge I've got with those folks, and this is, again, I always use this as a begging position. If you are one of those people who's just comfortable with paying the bills, you've got a car to get you from A to B, you have an average holiday once a year, you've got enough to eat and you've got enough to pay your rent or your mortgage, so you're doing just enough to get by. If somebody comes to you and says, can I be successful in this profession, in this industry? And again, I'll use mine. Can I be a successful personal trainer, for example? People that are doing just enough to get by will say, no, you can't. There's too many personal trainers and we're only making just enough to get by. Well, that's true for that person, but it doesn't have to be true for you. So this is where this becomes very, very personal. There's always going to be people who don't do anything with their life and they don't achieve anything. There's always going to be people who are very happy and comfortable with average and just getting by. And then behind me on the wall are people who they feel sick even thinking about being average. They are achievers. They're constantly striving to get better, to get fitter, to get stronger, to get faster, to punch harder, to achieve more, to win more, to do more. And that may be a genetic headspace. It might be something that you're born with. But a lot of those people will also share that the difference between them and their teammates, or them and other people that do the same thing that they do, is simply discipline, commitment and focus. So the champions of the world, whether it's cold or hot, whether they're sick or injured, whether they've got family challenges or they feel emotional, or one of the great quotes I heard was, I don't train because I feel like it. I train and then I feel good. Elite athletes don't wait to get motivated and then go and train for their sport. They just train anyway, regardless of how they feel. There's a lot of talk now about I don't feel mentally healthy, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to grow my business, or I'm not going to get better at my sport, or I'm not going to get qualified for the career path that I want because I'm having a tough time with my mental health. Well, it's interesting because the mental health experts, the psychologists and psychiatrists, the behavioural scientists, the people who study the brain, the neuroscientists they're really onto something with this. We don't feel good to do anything unless we're doing something. If you don't have a purpose to get up, you won't get up. So if you wait to get motivated, it's very likely that you'll stay in bed because you're waiting for somebody else or something to motivate you. If you just get up and do, if you get up and focus on the things that you want to do and you just get up and do them, which of course is discipline. You do what you should do when you should do it, even if you don't feel like it. Now, most people will know what to do and they know when to do it. They just don't do it if they don't feel like it. But champions are exactly the opposite. They do it even if they don't feel like it. If it's cold or hot or windy or rainy, or they don't, this sick thing's a really interesting one because we seem to live in a world now where taking a sickie, chucking a sickie as they say in Australia, where I just don't feel like it, so I'm not going to go to work today. Is it possible that that affects your headspace? Now, it's certainly going to affect your ability to earn money. It's going to affect your job security, and bosses are not allowed to say this anymore, but somebody that's continually taking sickies, the boss is trying to get rid of you. They don't want you around because you're a pain in their ass. They expect you to come to work and you don't come. And it seems from the employee's point of view that it's perfectly normal to chuck a sickie. I'm not sick, but I'm not going to go to work today. I will share with you that the people that are on the walls in my gym are people that they train hard even if they are sick or injured. It's one of the interesting things about martial artists. If they've got injured legs, they still box. If they've got injured shoulder, they still kick. They still go to training. They do whatever they possibly can to stay fit and to stay strong so they can continue achieving. So what does that got to do with you? And it's just a very personal question. How do you want to live your life? Do you want to have an average, ordinary life where you don't achieve anything? And that's perfectly okay. Of course it is. You get to choose exactly how you want to live. But if that makes you miserable, or that upsets you, or it depresses you, or you use it as an excuse, I just don't feel like it, but I really want to, and you get angry because you're not getting, and that's those three words that shouldn't exist in the vocabulary: could have, should have, would have. There is no could have, should have, would have. There's just you did or you didn't. And if you get to the end of your life and you look back and go, well, I could have and I should have and I would have, but I didn't, how will that feel? But that's a human choice. But if you choose that you want to achieve whatever it is in your sport, in your business, in your art, in your relationships, in your financial situation, whatever it is that you want to do, can you do it? And of course the answer is yes. Can you be healthy, fit and strong? Yes. Can you have a career or business that you want? Yes. Can you be financially free, secure, wealthy? Yes. Can you have great relationships? Yes. They're, for me, the four big parts of life. But they require discipline, focus and commitment. And if you are the person who gets into the habit of chucking a sickie, you get into the habit of saying, I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to, I'm going to do it tomorrow, so you become a procrastinator. If you're in the habit of being sick, being angry, being depressed, being frustrated, waiting till tomorrow, I'll wait till I'm motivated, is it possible that the things that you want to do will end up as regrets of things that you didn't do? You'll look back over your life and say, I could have, should have, would have, but I didn't. And that's a beautiful thing about the champions that I've got in my gym. When I come in here, you can feel it. You can feel the passion. You can feel the enthusiasm. There are only pictures on the wall. But these are people that, regardless of what's going on in their life, they never give up, so they can never fail. They never say, I can't. They always say, how can I? And they are the people that achieve. And that is why, of course, they are inspiring and motivating. So again, if you are a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, or a leader, do you have an option? If you're a person who doesn't have people in your life who look up to you, and you have other people in your life who don't care what's going on in their life, probably doesn't matter. But if you are a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, a leader, a pastor, somebody that is responsible for inspiring other people to have a life that they love, are you living that example? And if not, do you have an option? Do you really have an option to be lazy, to be undisciplined, to be sick, to make excuses to justify why you haven't done the things that you want to do? Is it possible that you just need to go do? Because that's what champions do. They go do, so they can live their life to the max. Super duper do. How are you? Living my life to the max, no excuses. Woo!